Hi everybody, it's Frank here. Now on to political talk. I'm taking a break from the news, so to speak, because every day I'm watching a video or reading the news about something our government said or something that they did. And every time it happens, I just want to... So I decided today to make a video comparing Justin Trudeau with his father, Pierre Trudeau. Now I know what some of you are going to think, and that is basically this.
I am your father.
That's impossible! No!
Okay. I got that out of the way, alright? Because I know I'm going to get comments about that. So, why did I do this? About Pierre Trudeau and not the other guy. I did so because I'm at a loss to explain how Justin Trudeau is the way he is, why he says the things that he says, and makes the decision that he makes. Is it genetics? Is it learned behavior? Who the hell knows? But I'll try to find out with this comparison video. So let's get to it. Okay, to start, let's get into the TARDIS and go back in time. It's ironic because when Pierre Trudeau was in power in the late 70s and early 80s, I was a wee lad watching Doctor Who. I was also watching reruns of Rocket Robin Hood and Three's Company, but I digress. Pierre Trudeau was a very good-looking dude and a charming man with a great smile. It was so much so that in 1968, Trudeau Mania was born and swept Canada. The country loved and was intrigued by this flashy bachelor who, in a short period of time, went from law professor to prime minister. Trudeau was known for his sports cars, celebrities he kept company with, and his signature red rose on his lapel. Justin Trudeau inherited his father's good looks and flashy ways, but he was flashy in a different sense. He too became popular with Canada, although it wasn't given a name like in Pierre Trudeau's time. He went from becoming a drama teacher to becoming the youngest prime minister in Canada at the age of 43 in 2015.
You good looking. You're hot.
And from the Department of Irrelevancy, one thing that Pierre Trudeau and Justin Trudeau had identical in common was that they could plank like champions.
It's like looking in a mirror, only not.
So it's quite obvious that father and son shared gifted genetics, so to speak. They also shared huge popularity in Canada at the time of their rising status to prime minister. What I can't confirm is if Justin Trudeau's popularity was earned, or was it just because he was the son of Pierre Trudeau? As I contemplated this, I came across this clip of Jordan Peterson. Unless you've been living under a rock, you should have heard of this guy. He basically had the stones to say the very things that I'm thinking about.
He didn't earn his name. His father was very famous.
Sure.
And so that put Trudeau at a tremendous advantage with regards to moving into a leadership position in Canada. It's not excusable. You should move ahead on your own merits, especially if you're daring to do something like run a country.
And now he's in trouble for his thoughts. But that's another story. As I was doing this research, I couldn't help but think, man, Father Trudeau, he's quite a good speaker, and he's truly charming. I mean, have a listen to Pierre Trudeau describe to Americans what it's like living beside them in Canada.
Living next to you is in some ways like sleeping with an elephant. No matter how friendly or even tempered is the beast, if I can call it that, one is affected by every twitch and grunt.
You see what I mean? There's a charm there, and you'll see it throughout the course of this video. In the meantime, we get Justin Trudeau and his dramatic pauses, his soft, monotone voice, devoid of any charisma whatsoever.
That was terrible!
Horrendous!
I'm offended!
I'm appalled!
So what are we gonna do?
Oh, what else? Email it to everybody we know!
Good idea.
How did these two guys differ on their approach and thoughts on the media? Let's start off with Father Trudeau.
I'm afraid that the mass media are tending to try to make citizens experts on everything too many people listen to the news at 11 o'clock every night. You know, only about 1/10 of you should be listening to that news. Not because I don't want you to be informed, but because I don't want you to have bad dreams. And, you know, the world is not as bad as the news has to make it. You wouldn't. How can you sleep after that?
After several years in power, in the early 1980s, Pierre Trudeau and the media's relations were very low. Father Trudeau unofficially boycotted the media and refused to talk to reporters. This was years after contentious relations, and he made no secret of his contempt for reporters.
You can stick it where you want, what I said. People don't believe anymore what they read in the newspapers or see on the television.
Pierre Trudeau reduced his accessibilities to reporters, and the reporters were resorting to reporting scrums, which are brief encounters in hallways or on the move, and that even led to a shoving incident with another reporter.
I didn't push you. I did not push you. You pushed me. Don't push you again. Yeah.
After this incident, Trudeau committed to holding weekly news conferences in Ottawa during parliamentary sessions, but even that was eventually suspended a while, and scrums returned. Trudeau would brush them off or give a sarcastic answer. So it looks like he had quite a contentious relationship with the media, although it would seem that he knew that there was a certain importance to them. And look at that, he got into a shoving match with one? Remind you of anybody else you know? And now we move on to his son, Justin Trudeau. What are his thoughts on the media?
You sometimes hear about liberal bias in the media these days, how they're constantly letting our government off the hook for no good reason. Frankly, I think that's insulting. It's clear that they let us off the hook for a very good reason, because we paid them $600 million. You don't get stellar headlines like these without greasing the wheels a bit.
It is well known that Justin Trudeau and the government fund the media over $1 billion a year. And don't forget Bill C-11, which is the government overseeing online speech. As for other media organizations that the government doesn't fund, have a listen to how Justin Trudeau's relationship is with them.
Organizations like yours that continue to spread misinformation and disinformation on the science around vaccines, and quite frankly, I won't call it a media organization, your group of individuals need to take accountability.
What can you say about the guy? He either doesn't get along with the media, or he tries to control the media. Now on to something a little less serious, and that's being a potty mouth. Let's look at Father Trudeau and his vulgarities. The first incident was called the Trudeau Salute. It refers to an incident in August 1992 in which Prime Minister of Canada Pierre Trudeau responded to hecklers in British Columbia by giving them the finger. Then there was another incident in the House of Commons where he didn't necessarily say the F word, but he definitely did mouth in the House of Commons.
Of course I didn't say anything. I mean,
Did you mouth anything?
I move my lips and I use my hands in a gesture of derision, yes. But I didn't say anything. If these guys want to read lips and they want to see something into it, that's their problem. I think they're very sensitive.
And after being pressed by the media came the infamous words from Pierre Trudeau on describing the use and feelings of the F word.
What is the nature of your thoughts, gentlemen, when you say fuddle-duddle or something like that? God, you...
For those words you quoted?
You'll see in this next clip, Justin Trudeau proves that the apple does not fall far from the tree.
Order. Order.
I lost my temper and used language that was most decidedly unparliamentary, and for that I unreservedly apologize, Mr.
Then it was Justin Trudeau's time to swear. Well, allegedly dropped the F-bomb in the House of Commons. And after that, he repeated the words of his great father.
What is the nature of your thoughts, gentlemen, when you say you move your lips in a particular way?
So that's how it is in their family.
So now we move on to something a little more serious, and I guess that would be Canada's version of martial law. It's only been called twice in its history, and they were both by the Trudeaus. So we go back to what is now called the October Crisis back in October 1970. Pierre Trudeau invoked what was called the War Measures Act.
For that reason, the government, following an analysis of the facts, including the requests of the government of Quebec and of the City of Montreal for urgent action, decided to proclaim the War Measures Act.
That was when members of the FLQ kidnapped Labour Minister Pierre Laporte and British diplomat James Cross right in his home in Montreal. Although negotiation led to Cross's release, Laporte was murdered by kidnappers. So you can imagine the scenes of police enforcements, guns, and sort of things looking as you can imagine in martial law. The press challenged Pierre Trudeau on this, and he stood resolute. Here was his response.
Well, there's a lot of bleeding hearts around who just don't like to see people with helmets and guns. All I can say is go on and bleed, but it's more important to keep law and order in this society than to be worried about weak-kneed people who don't like the looks of a soldier.
At any cost? At any cost? How far would you go with that? How far would you extend that?
Well, just watch me.
Now fast forward to last year, February 2022, where truckers called the Freedom Convoy protested in Ottawa over COVID-19 government mandates.
The federal government has invoked the Emergencies Act.
I know that the trucker convoy was there for a while, and they were a pain in the ass. But isn't that what a protest is essentially? I mean, Justin Trudeau called the Emergency Act without even talking with the trucker convoy. After looking at the evidence, I think that Pierre Trudeau was faced with violence, kidnapping, and even murder. While Justin Trudeau, he faced barbecues, he faced street hockey. You decide the validity of our current Prime Minister's invoking of the Emergency Act. Would you believe it if I told you that Quebec nearly separated from Canada and was their own country? In 1980, there was a referendum called by Parti Québécois. Under Trudeau's leadership, the vote went against this idea, and Quebec thankfully stayed in Canada. Call this an accomplishment or not, the bottom line is, Pierre Trudeau was Prime Minister at the time. It's his accomplishment that Canada stayed together. In terms of accomplishments, I can tell you that Pierre Elliott Trudeau had a major accomplishment. We still talk about it to this day because we reference it all the time. It's the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. It was born April 17th, 1982. The charter reflects Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau's vision for a united nation based on equal rights for all Canadians. And since then, the Charter has been an essential part of the Canadian democracy. Bravo, Pierre. And now for your son's list of major accomplishments. So here we are at the end of my analysis, and what did I discover in making this video? You know, agree or disagree with him, Pierre Elliott Trudeau was a significant leader and Prime Minister. He was sometimes accused of being arrogant and mismanaging economics. He also alienated the West in his energy policy. Look, he wasn't perfect, but he has major accomplishments to his credit. He helped Canada stay together when they wanted to leave. He used the War Measures Act appropriately when he was faced with a true crisis. And he was the architect of the Charter and Rights and Freedoms, something that we still reference to this day. Now, what about Justin Trudeau? He's like his father as far as popularity is concerned, and his energy policies as well. But it just seems to me that Justin Trudeau is way more autocratic in his leadership style, way more than his father was anyways. I can't say that because father and son shared similarities that Justin Trudeau is the way he is. Perhaps. It just seems to me that Justin Trudeau seems desperate to find something that will create a long-lasting legacy. You know, like climate change policy. There's a perfect example. You know, is that a typical thing of a son trying to please his father or perhaps get out of his shadow? I'm not sure. What I can say is that I don't have to agree with the leader, but I can respect him. And right now I'm having a tough time respecting the actions and decisions of our current Prime Minister. Perhaps that's a lesson that Justin Trudeau should take from his father's reign. Once again, I thank you for stopping by. I really do like making these videos, and it seems like people enjoy watching them. So I'm going to keep doing them. I'm quite surprised actually because I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers. Now in the YouTube world, that ain't a hell of a lot, but it seems to be like that first benchmark. So please like and subscribe this video. If I can get to 1,000, let's see where it goes from here. Is there a topic that you want me to tackle? Like I said, I enjoyed making these videos. Like when I was looking at Pierre Trudeau in that era, man, I missed some TV. I'm gonna go back and watch some Benny Hill reruns and The Muppet Show. In the meantime, I say to you, ciao, have a great day, and we'll see you next time in my next video. Salute.